But I just wanted to say today, like, it's funny that you assume that I'm privileged because I've got a husband. Um, like, I think it's a bit weird, like, to what I was saying, like, um, when you're talking about, because you said you've been banging on about anonymity, right? Um, and I know we've said we hate people that have said, "Oh, I've been here this long," so I've got a privilege, right? I'm not saying that I've been here this long, but I have been here longer than you. And we've had, chats about this, which is fine. So it's not I don't want to make it out as if it's I've been here longer. Um, but, you know, I've already been here, and just the fact that I've got a husband doesn't mean that I'm any more fucking privileged than anybody else, right? Who is, because if you're anonymous, right, and I've always stuck up for women, um, to be anonymous, and I said it in my own space the other night, and I say it all the time. I do understand why women need to be anonymous, and I totally support it. But what I don't support is women who have the protection of anonymity, who then go and fucking bully other women. And also, what I want to say is, who the fuck made you? God? Do you know what I mean? Like, any people that are doing this, who the fuck? You don't need to protect us. If I want to give fucking £50 to somebody, I will. Right? Like, and the worst thing is, I hear these women talking about fucking loyalty and truth and honesty and receipts, right? But when I go to fucking say it, it's like tumbleweeds. There's nothing. I'm honestly so sick of this fucking shit.
Well, quite. Um, Gav, help me out. Who was next?
Yeah, it's just a comment on the bullying that's happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, and I know it's not constructive, but I just wanted to say the other thing that I've been finding quite frustrating over the last 2 to 3 weeks of seeing other men, straight and gay, sticking their oar in. I don't think some of the things Glinner has been saying over the last few weeks has been particularly helpful. I really
Absolutely
wish,
not.
I
Absolutely
really,
not.
yeah, I really wish he would step back a little bit and let women sort their own discussions out. I am here to listen to women, and I wish that other men were that sympathetic and calculated in how they decide to use their male power and male voice. That was all.
As I said before, Gav, and I'll reiterate it because there's more people in the space. The reason why I made you co-host is because it um, elongates the audience, so other people could come in. Um, and I know that you're a good discerner of working out who the idiots are that try and come in and troll to be involved in the space.
Oh my God, Belfast, that just made me feel so much better because obviously you didn't offer me because you thought I would have people blocked. But guess what? Every single person in your space tonight has, well, I don't know if they've got me blocked, it doesn't come up, right? I don't see, it's very rare that I'm in a space where I see people that I've blocked. Do you know what I mean? But just to say, I love these spaces when there are people in them that I don't have fucking blocked. And I'm just like, ah, this is good.
I know it's not so bad tonight. I think there's quite a few people in here. I don't think, you know, I mean, obviously there's nobody here that I've blocked, um, but there's very few kind of cross blockings going on, and I like that. That makes me happy. But I'm sure there's plenty of people down the bottom who are maybe blocked by people and they're on an alt, and that's fine. I'm happy enough for them to listen. I'm happy enough for them to record me. Please send me a copy. Um, you know, that would be great. Um, if I could hear it too, because I forgot to press record again. But this is kind of the point. I do not want um I don't want it to turn into a bitch fest, but at the same time, I understand why people have concerns. Um, so, Gav, help me out. Who was next?
So I think it was Nay, and then Jagger's daughter, and then I can't see the rest of the name, the something, the Fennec, and then Queen. I hope I've got that right.
Yeah, it was just to answer Amanda. It was more about, but you actually clarified the point when you said privileged having a husband. I just mean more of a sort of maybe not so much privilege, but a consideration for the ones that you know don't have someone being able to support them financially. Is really what I'm saying. There's lots of single parents. There's lots of people that literally, if they opened their mouth and they weren't anonymous, they would just not have a job. But you actually said that anyway, so that was the point that I was going to make.
Happy days. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. I just had to come back up and say I think that one of the things that I really try hard not to do is like deliver any kind of thou shalt at women. Like I really don't want to tell women what to do or how to engage. I've seen a lot in this community, and I think a lot of us are kind of prone to lashing out at whoever's closest and like safest to to kind of like slap down, and I think in some cases we're not bringing our best selves to these spaces or to interactions, and I kind of just try and hold back judgment or feeling like a personal attack.
Yeah, I understand people who are anonymous because they're maybe working behind the scenes, they're working on legislation, they're working in the civil service, they're working in the NHS, they're working in certain areas where they can't speak out properly. And I understand that anonymity. But if you can speak out as yourself, then it's very clear. And, you know, I know I call myself Belfast Beatnik, but at the same time, it's very easy to find out who I am. Very easy to work out that I'm Claire. Very easy. If you did one Google, you'd find me. Um, you know, and I'm very particular about telling that to people. As a facilitator, as an intercultural facilitator, as a someone who worked in schools and with teenage people, they never would have found me by looking up Belfast Beatnik. They never would have thought of it. It's one of the reasons why I made it up. Because Claire the poet is not Belfast Beatnik to them. And to me, that is crucial. And when we look at the way in which drag queens are using their own name and going into schools with their own name, their own stage name, um, and if a child was to look that up on the internet, they would find ridiculous stuff. And that is something that upsets me. Because if I rocked up to a school in a mini skirt and fishnets and a pair of spike heels, could you imagine? Some people do have the advantage of knowing that if they sacked them, their company would be in trouble.
And I'm quite happy to use that.
And I appreciate it. Amanda, you were next.
Thanks, honey. Yeah, I suppose I probably want to go back to that, like you've got a husband thing or you've got support, right? Nobody knows like what my husband does, right? Like, um, nobody knows like what anybody like. You don't know what my husband does, right? So how the fuck would anybody know, right? And Nay will understand if she's still here or hears a recording, whatever. If I say fuck, right? This isn't to her. She'll understand the way I speak, right? But how the fuck do you know that what I'm speaking about not only affects my children, etc., but how do you know it doesn't affect my husband's business? because nobody knows what my husband does, right? So this is another thing that I get very fucking sick of, right? Especially if you are anonymous. Don't fucking assume what you think my husband does or me speaking out what effect it has, right? You have no idea. This is what people don't get. You have no, just because I don't speak about it, just because I'm not a wee arsehole that fucking, puts everything out there, and I don't want to have fights, right? Um, and I've said it before to women where they've said, "Oh, I've only got 10 minutes. My husband's here or whatever," and I'm like, "Well, great. Well, I've got a husband and four and three male sons in the house at the time, right? Three male children. They need to do their homework. Your fucking 10 minutes isn't any more important than mine, right? We all put our hand up and we do the same thing, right? But what I want to say is, right, just don't assume, right? You don't even know what I've like. You don't know anything that you're talking about, right? So can we just stop assuming as well with the fucking, generalizations? Because the thing is, I speak up for my lesbian friends all the time because I'm very aware that they don't get paid the same and that they're probably not going to have a child and then just get a house off the council and, be supported and whatever, right? That's not a fucking slagging at anybody else. I needed it, but it is what happens and it's a good thing. A young woman, she has a baby or whatever, she needs a house, that's fine. Lesbians probably ain't going to, have that thing. They also don't get your tax credits, all this fucking shit, right? So I'm very aware that lesbians have to be self-sufficient, but I don't feel as if that I need to fucking, put out every single fucking thing that I agree with.
I've been on this app for a while, doing spaces for quite some time. And whenever I very first started doing spaces, I used to inbox Amanda to come in just so she could wrangle the room for me because it was getting away from me. Because I was so meek and polite that folks were
Taking advantage.
overly taking advantage of me. And I would have to say, "Hey, can you come in and co-host for me because I can't get them to listen to me and I have something to say and I'm hosting this space. I need a little bit of help." And she would come in and help me. And then I found my voice again. And so now I am a whole lot more assertive than what I was before. I'm still not, little Miss Bossy Britches, but I'm getting there.